Outstanding bill hearings that we need to finish up before we continue our work on another topic. And let's start with House Bill 1277. Delegate Heinbaugh, why don't you come on up? And you are the lone witness, in-person witness, so you take the time you need to present House Bill 1277, okay?
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity this afternoon to present House Bill 1277 for your consideration. For the record, I am Delegate Jim Heinbaugh. I represent District 1A, which includes all of Garrett County in the western part of Allegheny County. And very quickly, before I talk about the specifics of the bill, I just want to give a little background about why I submitted the bill. Savage River Lodge is a 42-acre property located in Garrett County, surrounded by 700 acres of the Savage River State Forest. It includes 18 log cabins, 8 yurts, a large conference center, a large log home, and several miles of hiking, biking, cross-country skiing trails. The important point here is the state purchased that property last fall. I think the Board of Public Works actually approved of the purchase in September. The previous owners of the lodge paid both property tax. They paid about $60,000 a year, and they paid what we call the accommodations tax. Some people call it a hotel tax. It's 8% that's paid on short-term rentals. They paid a total of about $90,000 in accommodations tax last year. So the point being, with the state's purchase of Savage River Lodge, which I supported publicly, and it wasn't universally popular at the time, but with the state's purchase of that property, the county lost about $150,000 a year in revenue. So House Bill 1277, if approved, it's pretty simple. It would require the Department of Natural Resources collect the 8% accommodations tax on the rentals of the cabins and yurts. That would, based on the physical note from DLS, that would generate about $63,000 a year in revenue for the county, which would go a long ways in offsetting the loss of revenue they have with the state's purchase of the property. It's not a lot of money in terms of what we deal with down here, but the county, like everyone else, is looking for sources of revenue to cover expenses, and so it's very important to them. Another way of looking at this, and they're not raising new revenue, it's an existing tax. All they're trying to do is to reduce the loss of tax associated with the state's purchase of the property. I think DNR submitted testimony that was unfavorable, and if I read it correctly, they had 2 issues. One, they were concerned that this accommodations tax of 8% would make the cabins less attractive and unaffordable. And I think the second consideration was that they wouldn't get reimbursed for whatever the administrative costs would be of collecting the tax. Now, I respectfully agree with DNR on both issues. The cabins previously rented for $250 to $300 a night. DNR plans to rent them for $150 a night. So the 8% tax on $150, if I did the math right, would be about $12. I don't think that $12 is going to discourage anybody from renting a cabin for $150 a night that did rent for $250 or $300. The other issue is, by the county code, businesses that collect the accommodations tax are allowed to retain 1.5% of the tax if they pay in a timely manner. The other thing this bill does, it provides a level playing field. The vacation rental businesses in the county all pay the accommodations tax. What this would do is it would basically treat DNR like everybody else. It wouldn't give them a competitive advantage over other businesses. The bill as originally drafted was going to require DNR to start collecting that tax 1 July this year. We amended the bill to delay that for 1 year to give DNR an opportunity to, they wanted some time to build their customer base. So we agreed to delay the effective date of collecting the tax until July 1st of 2026. That pretty much concludes my testimony, and I respectively request the committee's favorable consideration of House Bill 1277. Happy to try to answer any questions you might have. And thank you for your time and attention.
Absolutely, thank you. I don't think that your first time in this committee, I believe. Is that my recollection correct? Okay, well, welcome. Anyway, Senator Hester, and then go Senator Carrozza, and then Senator Washington. Okay, Senator Hester.
I mean, thank you for the bill. It seems really logical. I was just curious, why would they drop the price from $300 a night to $150 a night?
I think their goal is to make the cabins more accessible so that everyday, more regular, it was kind of an exclusive place before that. So I think their goal is to, they've actually made that property now a state park. It's a new state park. I think it's called Savage Highland State Park. But their reason for reducing their price was to make it more affordable for more people. And I think that's a commendable, I think that's a commendable goal to have.
I think it's commendable. I do think that they should be able to cover their costs, right? They were just in here asking for more money from program open space. So like, maybe they should raise their price a little bit. I don't know.
Well, the fiscal note from DLS says that they will be profitable. My personal opinion is maybe they dropped it too much too quick, but I'm not in charge of that. So they are beautiful cabins. The yurts are very nice. The lodge is beautiful. It has a great big deck around the front. You can sit there and watch deer and bear and all that sort of thing. So it's I don't think they're going to have any trouble renting the cabins, particularly at that price.
Senator Carrozza.
Mr. Chair, thank you, Delegate, for the bill. You caught my attention when you had the support of the Maryland Tourism Coalition. We try to work very hard on Maryland's coast and with our partners all over the state and also all the way across the state. Can you just comment? I mean, you seem to think that having this letter from the Maryland Tourism Coalition that the bill, this is an attraction, I think what I'm hearing.
Yeah, and I apologize for the delay. I have a very difficult time of hearing because I have to read the script down there sometime. I'm not.
It's just a brief comment that you've got the support of the Maryland Tourism Coalition, and that I mean they obviously think that it will be an attraction. The lodging there.
Yes, they did, and I did appreciate their letter of support, and I'm confident that this is going to work, and it's not going to discourage people from renting. And vacation rentals are particularly around Deep Creek Lake are a big business, and this is a big source of revenue to the county.
Okay, Senator Washington.
Thank you, and welcome to EEE. So DNR purchased the. I'm trying to understand who owned it prior to the purchase. Who owned the Savage River property?
There was a couple, Mike Drosbach and Jan Russell, that I was actually the Director of Economic Development for Garrett County when they started this project. They started building in the 90s, and they decided they wanted to retire in the market to sell. I think that DNR buying it was probably a win-win for both the state DNR and for the county. It needed a little work. The access road is pretty bad going in there, and I think DNR has the resources to make some of the improvements it need to make that make the place more attractive.
So it was purchased for $8.7 million. Did any of that? Well, at least that's what's reported. So I'm trying to understand the bill.
Well,
Because it was at the state, and again, I'm trying to understand. So it was owned by a private couple, and did this county get, I mean, I'm trying to understand the county's loss here. And again, it was 8.7 million. I don't know if there was a transfer tax involved or just whatever. So what did the county get from just the sale?
Well, as you're aware, the state has a procurement. Let me back up a minute. I supported DNR's purchase of the property. I didn't necessarily support the process or the purchase price. They had a process whereby I think they were required to get two estimates or two appraisals, and they took the average of the two appraisals. And I'm told that's how they came up with the price. I'm not sure. The county does have a transfer tax. I don't know if DNR is required to pay that. I don't want to say because I'm not sure about that. But this bill, if the county can recover $63,000 a year in the accommodations tax, I think the county will be very happy, because the county commissioners also agree that DNR purchasing the property was probably the best possible outcome.
So the 8% hotel tax is collected on behalf of the county? So is the, because I know there are different kinds of counties, are you not able to assess taxes? Well, I'm just trying. So because it's state land, there's no tax, is that what it is?
Several years ago, Senator Edwards was able to get legislation passed whereby DNR, it was basically a pilot agreement where DNR pays the county for property that the state owns in the county. Prior to that, it was a very unpopular thing for the state to buy property in the county because it was basically taken off the tax rolls. With that legislation, I think the county now gets, I believe it's $250,000 for every, I think it's 10,000 acres that the state owns in the county. And the state owns about 90,000 acres in Garrett County. So that kind of addressed the issue that, the county commissioners were concerned at the time that the state was continuing to buy property and was being taken off the tax rolls. And now the county commissioners are, I think they're all okay with that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, Senator Brooks.
Not a question, just a sidebar. So I just want to say thanks for your service, sir. And then May 30th is Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day in Maryland. So welcome home, brother.
Well, thank you. There aren't many of us around now, so, but thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That concludes the bill hearing on House Bill 1277.
Thank you for your hospitality.
Yes, which brings us to our final bill of the day, House Bill 1427, Delegate Miller. And Delegate Miller, take the time you need to present House Bill 1427.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate the committee's understanding. It's been quite the day for us on our side. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. I guess I should probably be saying good evening now. Mr. Chair and distinguished members of the Senate Education, Energy, and Environment Committee. I am Delegate April Miller, and I am here to ask for your favorable opinion on House Bill 1427. Last session, I brought a bill to establish a commission to study and report on the safety at electric vehicle charging stations. This bill did not pass. But I got a lot of feedback and input that I incorporated into the bill that you have before you. The focus of this bill is to make sure that charging station safety and reliability are considered by the ZVIC, the Zero Emission Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Commission. In June of 2024, the Federal Joint Office of Energy and Transportation released some technical guidelines for physical safety and security at EV charging stations. The Maryland General Assembly has established and expanded the ZVIC Infrastructure Council in recent years, and I believe there's a perspective that is critically needed. And as we continue to expand our charging station network, public safety and reliability should always be at the forefront of the decision-making process. Range anxiety and charging infrastructure concerns are two of the biggest reasons that people may be wary to purchase an electric vehicle. And I totally understand. If I drive my EV down to Annapolis and stay all week and then go to drive back home, I have to stop at the nearby supercharger at Target. And as I said in the House, I don't have one of the charging spots over in the House office building. Chair Corman has been nice enough to help alleviate that, so you guys don't have to worry about that. There are chargers in the garage, but I don't have one of those spaces. And the last 2 times, I did not stop to charge because I thought I had enough mileage left on the battery. And as if any of you are EV drivers know, that EV miles are not the same as gas miles. They are totally different, and you can't rely on them as far as the mileage you need to drive. I nearly ended up stranded. Last month on a very cold day, I was running late to get back for a meeting, and I was doing fine, but I hit traffic. And then as I went over those last few mountains out my way, we have mountains, my mileage started to drop very fast, and I could not get off the highway. I called my husband in a panic. He started driving to meet me. I got to my exit with 1 mile left on my battery, and thankfully, our town hall does have a charger in front of it. I pulled into that space with 0 miles left. I had my adapter and the charger worked, thankfully. As you know, that can be an issue. And it just took over 30 minutes to charge enough to get me the rest of the way home, which was only about 10 miles. I was very fortunate. If the charger had not been operational, what would I have done? If I have not made it to the charger, what would I have done? I would have had to call for a tow truck to have the car towed to my house or a charger, and then what if that charger didn't work? The charging network needs to be reliable, and when a charger is down, there should be a way to let the public know that it is not operational, just like we would a gas station if it were closed. Tesla chargers are more reliable, and there is a way to see how many bays are operational and available, but that's not the case sometimes for non-Tesla chargers. And I appreciate the work and support that the EV Charging Task Force has done, and I believe they submitted to you, and all the research that they have done concerning the reliability of our charging network. We have a lot of work to be done. So when I was worried about being stranded, I realized I have AAA. But we're not in a pilot area for trucks that have mobile chargers, and that needs to be a considered change. And I can have an amendment to add that. That point was brought home to me when we had so many EVs stranded with dead batteries on 95 during that ice storm a few years ago. And personally to me, when I was almost left stranded on Route 70. We also need to look at the placement of EV chargers. A lot of EV chargers are at the back of buildings. Even at the sheets, they're around the back with less security and less people around. They are often in mall parking lots, at rest stops, in the back corner, by fences, behind buildings, or in areas that are deserted at night. And I often travel alone. And when you have to sit there and charge for 30, 40, 50 minutes, and even up to an hour, even at a supercharger, which is much longer than on a regular chargers are much longer, you are more vulnerable. And you have to get out of your car to hook and unhook the charger. Gas stations at least have some type of attendant if they are open. EV charger stations do not. Most gas stations have good lighting and cameras. EV stations do not. A gas fill-up only takes a few minutes. EV charging much longer. Now, there was a fiscal note attached to this. It was about $75,000, but this ZVIC report is already, and I hope I'm saying that right, is already being done. This just adds a safety aspect for consideration, and as you have in your hands, the reliability of the charging station network has already been done by the task force, and so now we just need some planning and solutions. So if we're going to go down the road of mandating EVs, we have to have as safe and secure a charging network as possible, and I think this is a good first step to be considering it. So please vote favorably on House Bill 1427. I thank you again for the grace of the committee in understanding.
Okay, questions for Delegate Miller? Senator Carrizo.
I was flipping through this, trying to skim it. I know it's not organized by counties, but this, can you just clarify who did this work? And I was a little alarmed to see how many were down.
Yeah.
And actually in my district, so.
Yeah, and Subcommittee Chair Stewart actually brought a lot of the reliability issues. I worked closely with a lot of members of the E&T committee to get the bill to where it is now. This actually just came to my attention when it came to your attention that we even had this task force, and I was happy that they had done the work, but very concerned when I saw the results of their work. So I haven't even had a full chance to go through it all, but there's a lot of concerning facts about the reliability of our networks.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, additional questions? Seeing none, that does conclude the bill hearing on House Bill. Concludes our bill hearings for today, so thank you. Folks, we have to do a reboot of 2 minutes. And just for planning purposes, yes, we do have these voting lists 18 and 19. We will take those up tomorrow.